Yo, what is up, guys? James Carter TV here for yet another edition of my 32 teams in 32 days preview videos for the 2015 NFL Draft. Today, we are talking about the Indianapolis Colts, the Andrew Luck-led Indianapolis Colts, a team that lost in the divisional round last year to the New England Patriots, and the year before that, lost in the divisional rounds to the New England Patriots. But this year, things will be different because they made additions, or they so hope, because they made additions in free agency. They drafted well, they believe, and to them, things will be different. Now, will that be the case? Oh, let's look at the schedule and let's find out. So, actually, not the schedule. First, let's look at the team's strengths and then weaknesses, and then we'll look at their schedule. So their strengths, obviously, again, Andrew Luck. He's the quarterback. I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback, and I'll get into that in my quarterback rankings, but he's definitely a top 10. He's definitely in that upper echelon, and he's definitely solidifying himself as a top 5, although I don't think he's there yet. I think he needs to keep the turnovers down. 16 interceptions last season, an average of 1 per game, and then even more in the playoffs. That needs to come down. It needs to come down before we talk about Andrew Luck being a top 5 quarterback, in my opinion. That's an issue. And you can add Andre Johnson, you can add Frank Gore. That's not stopping Andrew Luck from throwing interceptions. He may throw more touchdowns with those guys, but when is he going to stop making the poor decisions that he sometimes has a tendency to make? It's that is preventing him. And his completion percentage is not as high as I'd like for it to be, but that's more of an offensive thing. And their offensive philosophy, they like to get big yards. They're not really a big dink and dunk. Not saying that those with high completion percentage are dink and dunk quarterbacks, but they like to go big. They like to get big yards, big attempts here, big attempt there. So I'll forgive the completion percentage part of it, but the interceptions need to come down, and I think they will. But, you know, that biggest strength, again, though, it's the quarterback position. It's Andrew Luck. He is the biggest strength on this team. The second biggest strength now, it wasn't last season, but now their wide receiving core. Last year they brought in Hakeem Nicks. He didn't do much for them. This year, they brought in Andre Johnson, formerly of the division rival Houston Texans. He's about 34, maybe 35 years old. He still has some left in the tank. He will produce, maybe he's 33 even. He will produce this season for Andrew Luck. And then you have next to him, T.Y. Hilton, who can be interchangeable, whether it be in the slot, whether it be on the outside. Someone that is a little underrated in that people think that his yards, his production is due to Andrew Luck, and some of that is true, but this guy's a pretty good wide receiver in his own right. He makes plays consistently for a reason. Don't really see him drop many balls, and he consistently gets open down the field for Andrew Luck to find him for open balls. So T.Y. Hilton, who's going to look to get paid, I mean, he's looking to get paid coming out of that Andrew Luck draft class for the Indianapolis Colts, so that's going to be interesting to see how that storyline develops as we roll into the season. So that's another big strength for this unit. Defensively, I really cannot look at a position group and say it's a complete strength. Now, I guess if I had to be really specific, I like their outside linebackers when they're on the field. In Trent Cole and Robert Mathis. Robert Mathis has had some issues getting on the field. He should be on the field for 16 games this season, hopefully. If he is, he's one of the elite pass rushers in the NFL. But the problem was last year he got suspended for 4 games. When he came back, he really wasn't as dominant as he was the year before. We'll see what happens this year. Maybe those PEDs really did everything for him. And then Trent Cole, who they brought in from Philadelphia, wasn't able to play much because they had Brandon Graham and Connor Barwin ahead of him. But Trent Cole is a good pass rusher and just an overall outside linebacker in his own right. So those are the two guys that I look at and I really like. But then the only other player on the defense, 2 of them that I really like, and that's Vontae Davis, elite corner at his position. I mean, he is up there with the Patrick Petersons, the Richard Shermans, and the Darrelle Reeves of the world, right under them. He's not, I wouldn't say on their level, but he's right under them. And Mike Adams at the free safety position. Other than that, I really do not like or love any of these defensive players. They're all right. I like Jarrell Freeman. Okay, he's a height as an inside linebacker. Next to him, DeQuell Jackson. He's kind of old. He can be a liability in coverage. So, I mean, he's a height, I guess. Joshua Chapman in the middle, nose tackle. I mean, he's okay. Arthur Jones next to him. He's kind of below average to me. You signed Kendall Langford from the St. Louis Rams. Played in a 4-3. Now going to the 3-4. I don't think he's going to do much. I think he had a good deal. I think he had a good deal in Ricky Jean-Francois. Yes, he would give you issues. He wouldn't be the best pass rusher on that defensive line, but he was pretty consistent against the run. Now I think you've lost that somewhat. And I think, honestly, it was a trade down. I think it was a step down, actually. Not trade down, a step down from Ricky Jean-Francois to Kendall Langford. But whatever. That's the decision you decided to make, and now you got to stick with it. Greg Toller on opposite side of Vontae Davis, I don't really love. He can have great plays, but sometimes he's penalty. He draws too many penalties. Some games he'll be pretty good. He'll cover number 2 wide receiver successfully, and then other games, where was he? So that's an issue there. I do like their slot corner, Darius Butler, though. I think he's a pretty... I would say pretty good. I mean, he's all right. He's an all right slot corner. There's too many all right guys defensively. Now, there's no one that's just a liability. Like, oh my God, why is this guy out here? He's bad. He's horrible. That's on the offensive line. So let's get to the offensive line. And the center position that is the Indianapolis Colts. These guys cannot find a center to start for this team. They had A.Q. Shipley, who they shipped out in the 2014 or 2015 NFL free agency. They said, get out of here. And now you have Colin Holmes out of USC in the 2013, maybe 2012 NFL draft. Coming in there, he played a little bit before. He's not good. Why is he starting? I really don't understand why the Indianapolis Colts did not focus more attention on the offensive line. Now, they did get Todd Herremans, a guard from the Philadelphia Eagles in free agency, but he's not even that good, guys. The Eagles were fine to let him go. They're like, hey, man, we don't care. We have Evan Mathis, who they ended up releasing anyway. We don't care about Todd Herremans. He's the guy that was never going to play for us. He was our backup. So now you got the Eagles backup in Todd Herremans. He's a below average right guard. And now you have guys there. You had guys there chairless on the right side. And actually, did they release him? Something happened with guys there chairless. I can't remember the headline right now. I'm so ill prepared. Excuse me. Something happened with him. I don't know if he got released or what it was. But on the left side, you do have Anthony Costanzo. Okay, now we're having a conversation. Now we're having a discussion. But even he's good. But I don't think he's a top 10 left tackle. I think he's just outside, maybe number 10. I don't think he's a top 10, top 5. Definitely not top 5. He's good. He allowed 2 sacks last year. That's good for a left tackle. So, I mean, okay. Offensively, we are talking about the wide receivers. You had Dwayne Allen at tight end. Kobe Fleener, who is inconsistent as can be. A lot of talk about Dwayne Allen, but he really doesn't do much. So can he do a little more for me? 400 yards isn't cutting it for me. I mean, let's step it up a little bit, Dwayne Allen. Other wide receivers, I talked about T.Y. Hilton, and I talked about Mr. Andre Johnson. Daunte Moncrief didn't do much last year. Now he'll be stepping up to that number 3 wide receiver, not really position because he'll be playing more outside, but in terms of looks and targets, he'll be number 3. So what will he do? They're going to look for him to make plays. We'll see whether or not he can do that. And Philip Dorsett, who they drafted in the first round as well out of Miami, University of Miami, he's someone that they should expect to do something as well. Real quick, I really don't like going off script, but I remember there was something that happened to guys they're chairless. It happened very recently, and I cannot quite remember. So let me get that information real quick. That way I do not sound like an idiot. Yes, they released Gosder Chairless. So Gosder Chairless was released from the Indianapolis Colts. Or actually, was that right? Yeah, and then last year he was put on injury reserve. So he had injury concerns last year, and he was ready to return, but they just decided to cut ties. So they said, okay, screw you. So, I mean, you don't even have guys that are chairless on the right side anymore. Stepping up now are guys that haven't really played. So, yeah, you're looking at a questionable offensive line once again. So what did the Colts improve? Okay, they got Trent Cole. They got an outside linebacker they can mess with because Bjorn Werner wasn't going to do anything with a wasted pick, Bjorn Werner. But it's okay because the 2013 NFL draft was kind of a big waste altogether anyway. Like, that's what I love to say. Whenever I look at, okay, this team drafted this player in 2013, like, okay, the Chiefs drafted Eric Fisher, the Cardinals drafted Jonathan Cooper, whatever. And they're bad, they're a bust. But I'm like, you know what? Everyone was a bust, man. What a horrible draft. I mean, there's a few gems like Eddie Lacy and Le'Veon Bell. But that's really it. And Lane Johnson's good. But, I mean, you had Eric Fisher and Deion Jordan. And, I mean, these are the busts of the century. I mean, wow, Luke Jokel. I mean, these guys are a bunch of clowns. So I don't care that you wasted your 2013 draft because everyone did. Even my Tennessee Titans. Well, actually, we actually did okay. We got a good guard in Chance Warmack. But with the first pick and the 10th overall pick, my God. First round pick, 10th overall pick. So you waste your 2013 pick. Well, join the club. Okay? But so he wasn't going to do anything for you. Now you have Trent Cole, 32 years old, should be able to produce. Jonathan Newsom behind him. That's someone else. I said, okay. But, man, I really don't see Andre Johnson. Is that an improvement offensively? Sure. You know, but I don't think the wide receivers was a problem. I think the offensive line is a problem. I think the Colts need to be able to run the ball better. Now, they got Frank Gore for that. I don't care. Frank Gore, to me, is washed up. I think he's done. I think you'll look at the 49ers this season, and you're going to say, wow, man, thank God Frank Gore is gone because Carlos Hyde is a better running back at this juncture, and it's not even close. I think Frank Gore is nearly done. I don't know what Frank Gore gives you that you don't have in Vic Ballard. Now, yes, Vic Ballard is injury prone. We can have that discussion. But I think Vic Ballard, honestly, when it's all said and done, he'll be starting by the end of the year. I don't have much faith in Frank Gore. This guy, behind the 49ers offensive line, that is pretty freaking good last year. And they have Joe Staley and Anthony Davis on the right side, Mike Upati on the inside, and more good players on the inside of that offensive line that I can't remember right now. Frank Gore really put up pedestrian numbers that anyone puts just by running as much as he runs. So I don't care about Frank Gore. If he couldn't do much behind that 49ers offensive line, what is he going to do again behind this offensive line? I don't expect much from that kid. I think they should have improved their offensive line. I think they really should have improved their defense. I think they lacked. So I don't see much improvement here. And the thing is about improvement in the NFL, everyone improves somewhat. You have to understand that. Yes, you added a Trent Cole and an Andre Johnson, but you ask any NFL fan, they'll tell you, oh, we improved because we did this and we did this. Okay, so I'm going a little off tangent here. I think there's inflation, just like how there is with the dollar bill in the United States. When everybody has a certain roster and everybody somehow, whether it be through draft picks or free agency, everybody improves somewhat. I mean, the talent level in the NFL improves somewhat. You have to improve more than everybody else did. And I don't think the Colts really did that. So I think they're around the same talent level they were last year, and that talent level got them blown out in the divisional round last year in the NFL playoffs. How are they going to make up? Did they make up the difference to you? That wasn't a team that was close. Oh my God, they got blown out. But whatever. Let's look at the schedule. Let's look at the toughness of the Indianapolis Colts schedule as they go up against the AFC East. You go at Buffalo. You go at Miami. I don't like that, okay? Especially when we're talking about at Buffalo, who I'm not a big fan of, by the way. But what is the Colts' biggest problem that's been proven 2 straight years against the New England Patriots in the 2014 and 15 NFL playoffs? They can't stop the run, okay? Now you're going up against LaShawn McCoy and the Buffalo Bills, who all they're going to do is run. And on the other opposite side of things, Ryan Tannehill, look out for this guy. This guy is coming in 2015. And in multiple ways than one. So I don't like those 2 games. Then you host New England, a return Tom Brady, And the difference between the Patriots and the Colts in the past 2 years is so astronomical that yes, the Colts improved a little bit, and yes, the Patriots decreased a little bit. There's still a difference here. So the AFC East looking problematic for you. You'll beat the Jets, fine. But I say 2-2, maybe 1-3 versus the AFC East. Now, you do have the luck of going up against, in multiple ways than one. You have Andrew Luck and you have Luck. No pun intended. You do have, actually no pun intended, you do have the luxury of playing the AFC South. Okay, you play the AFC South, you could sweep them. Honestly, the Colts could go 6-0 in the AFC South. I'm low on the Houston Texans, and I'm low on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm very low on the Jacksonville Jaguars, honestly. So you have that going for you. But let's just say they lose one. I think that's we're all comfortable saying for some odd reason they'll lose one game in the AFC South. Maybe they'll sweep it. That's a general possibility. Okay, fine. Then you're going up against the NFC South. You're going to Atlanta and you're going to Carolina. Those are tough games. Those are tough games against the Falcons, who I think are going to be better. I think you'll beat them probably, but it's still a difficult game. And then at Carolina against a defensive team like that will be tough. And then there's two teams in the AFC that you're facing that aren't the AFC East, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. That's tough. I mean, wow! I think the Steelers are the number one seed in the AFC this upcoming season. So that's a very tough game to go to. And then you host Denver. Denver has been kind to you. You've beaten Denver. I think you'll beat Denver again in Indianapolis. So Peyton Manning once again returning back to Lucas Oil Stadium. It's a pretty difficult schedule. I know the schedule makers will tell you, and the strength of schedule tells you it's an easy schedule. No, I think because the Falcons are improving, because the certain teams on this schedule will do better than they did last season, it may be a little difficult. I have the Colts. Best case scenario, they prove me wrong. You know, the defense plays better than what they are on paper. Andrew Luck turns into a top 5 quarterback, and they go 13-3. Worst case scenario, they have issues with this schedule. Either the Texans, the Titans, or the Jaguars do shit in the AFC South. They won't win it, but they do shit. You have trouble with them, and you go 10-6. I mean, it's not going to be worse than that. You'll at least go 10-6. My prediction, 11-5. I think there's some losses on this schedule. What will you do in the playoffs? I mean, that's what you should be concerned about. But mainly, honestly, I think Ryan Grigson is one of the most overrated. In fact, I don't even say one of them. I think he's the most overrated general manager in the NFL. I think he's the most overrated general manager in the NFL. If you can tell me, I just read out, I just talked about every single player on defense. Is there one defensive player? I'm just scanning, looking for one that he drafted that is really good. Like in the 3 years he's been GM, where's the good player on defense? All of these are players they've rented and gotten from other teams. Like Vontae Davis came from the Miami Dolphins. Trent Cole from the Philadelphia Eagles. Robert Mathis was already there. There's not a player. Where are the players that he's drafted? I mean, honestly, where are they? I mean, I see it on offense. I see your Andrew Luck. And this was all in the 2012 NFL Draft. Andrew Luck, T.Y. Hilton, Dwayne Allen, Kobe Fleener, Anthony Costanzo. Okay, let's have a conversation. After that, what has he done? I don't see. This is the same roster, minus some, free agent changes here or there. This is the same roster from 2012. I mean, Andrew Luck is manning the same team for the past 3 years. I mean, and Chuck Pagano, they have some issues re-signing him. I say good. I say upgrade. How did I get so mad? I don't know. I'm a Titans fan. I should be happy. I say upgrade Chuck Pagano. Actually, no, I'll give Pagano credit. Okay, fine. But upgrade Ryan Grigson. I think he's been sitting on his ass for the past couple years. I don't see a player defensively that he's added that you say, wow, this guy's good. Like, I don't see it. I'm looking for someone that I say, wow, look at this guy you drafted last year. I mean, honestly, where is that crowd? You traded for Trent Richardson in you traded your 2014 NFL draft pick. Why is no one talking about this? Ryan Grigson is doing nothing for you guys, man. So let's have this conversation in the comments. Comment down below your thoughts on that, because, this thought just occurred to me. I'm just sitting here, I'm wondering, okay, where's the talent? Okay, I like the Henry Anderson pick, 3rd round this year. Maybe Dejoun, whatever, Smith out of Florida Atlantic does something for you. But up to this point, I have not found one player that Ryan Grigson has drafted in the past, defensive, in the past 3 years that has gone on to do anything. Wow, where are they? Where are they? Until next time, James Carter TV, I'm out. Peace.